Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at customizing your forms that you are creating. So again, once you get your form to kind of start one, I'm going to go to the folder that I want it to be in. I'm going to click New. I'm going to go down to More, and I'm going to click a Google Form. So this is going to create an untitled form, so I'm just going to call this one Customize. And this will be our practice for PD. Okay. Click up here, we'll create it, customize PD. So I'm going to title this one, and so far it looks pretty darn bland. So one of the first things we're going to do is come up to here and look at this customize theme section. Now, one thing you want to do is actually you want to choose an image if you're going to use one, because if you start going and you go in and you start customizing these, and then you choose one of the images that you get, that it comes with, it will actually then change the theme that you get down here, and all this time has been wasted. So we're going to go up here and choose an image. Now you can upload one from your computer by just dragging a file on here. I don't recommend that since the themes are pretty good enough. Or you can go into your Google Photos and pick one from in here as well. Today we're just going to go to themes to make it pretty easy. So I'm going to go down to sports and games. And I'm going to go down this one because we're going to do some fitness stuff. And I'm going to hit insert. And notice that changes the theme of everything in the colors you have. I'm definitely a bluish gray person. Yep, let's go with this blue here. Then we can change the background if we want. So let's make this kind of that mid, and I don't like this font. You only get a few fonts. We're going to do playful since that kind of goes with better with our theme. So I'm going to X out of here, and we now have a theme for our Google Forms. Okay, now there's a couple other things we can do here. Now we don't have any questions at the moment, which is okay. But we're going to go up here and go into our settings, okay, since we haven't done this yet. Now you have in general the option to collect email addresses, which I do not recommend that you do, since you aren't really going to have time to have all of your students log in. Unless you want to, this is actually really good for keeping track of who submitted what, but it also for you guys takes a lot longer to kind of get set up. Since we're not going to have people set up anything with their Google accounts, we're going to take this off so that anyone with our QR code that we're going to create at a later time will be able to access it. I would not limit to one response so that you can have somebody use the same iPad over and over and over for your students. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing edit after submit or seeing a summary, charts, and text responses because they don't really need that. So let's go up to our presentation up here. You can show progress bar, which will be good for when you have multiple sections, which I'll show you later. The shuffle question order is good if you have multiple people taking a test at the same time. And then show link to submit another response. I do recommend that you do that one so that once one student finishes, it will give them a link to be able to click to restart another one so that the next student could take that same iPad and begin doing their own responses. A confirmation message at the end, just kind of a good job, you rock. 3 exclamation points, and that allows a custom message at the end just to kind of give something positive to your students when they finish. You can click on quizzes. You can make it a quiz. We're not going to do that since our main focus today is, or with this PD, is with data collecting and not necessarily doing right or wrong answers, but this essentially allows you to create a point value system for each of the questions that you created earlier. So we're not going to really worry about that. So let's save this. Okay. Now, I want to put in a couple other things here before we go. So if you look at this one that I created last time, one of the big things that you can do here is if you have more than one class and you want the same form, but you want it to go to a different location, so you want each class to have their own form, you can go up here into, the 3 dots up here, and you can do make a copy. And what that allows you to do is do a copy of that one, and it will have its own set of data that it collects separately for you. Or if you just want to use this one again for the next year, but you don't want to have the data from last year, so you can keep using it over and over. Then all you have to do is rename it something. So we can say practice forms PD, and we'll do 2021 for next year if I want to reuse this one again, or I can do a different teacher. So let's say I had Kilgore for this class, but I want to do the same one with a different teacher. I can say Ridge and click OK, and it will create a completely new one for that class. Okay, so that's really helpful if you want to do the same one over and over and over, just with different classes. Okay, so let's go back to our customize here. So one cool thing you can do here is you can import questions. Let's do that one. So if you go here to import questions, there's a couple questions I wanted from that last one. So basically I can go in here and find old Google Forms that I've used, and I don't want to use all the questions, but I want some of those questions. So I click which one I want. Let's click select here. And if you go over to here, you can then pick your questions that you want to import into this one. So let's do this one. What primary muscle? That's multiple choice here. Let's go down to this one, what type of exercise, and what type of foods, right? So then if we click import questions here, what it will do is it will take those questions from our last one and it will put them into our thing here, which is really nice. And I can just pick and choose which ones I want. I can do that as many times as I want. So let's go in here and then create an image for this, okay? Beforehand we did questions. Let's just add an image in here. So let's go to add image, and you can upload from your computer if you have your own pictures to use your camera. Woo! Okay. Find them by URL. I don't recommend that one. You can find your photos if you put anything into your drive. You can go into your Google Drive as well. This is Google Photos. Or you could do a Google image search. I'm going to do a Google image search here. So let's do squat. Let's do squats. Okay, I like this one. This will be a good one. So you can click on it and then insert it. And then you will have your image here. So let's just name that the perfect squat. Okay, so now we have this image in here as part of our forms for our students. So let's say you want something to go off of for your next question. So you can say, here's an image, and using that image, you can ask a question such as, what is this person doing wrong with their form or anything like that, or just however you would use it to lead into a question down here, maybe for some of your lower grade students like kindergarten who still don't know how to read yet. The next thing we can do here is also add a video. Now you can search in here, right, for squat. Let's do that. Okay, and you can go in and find your video. But let's say you've already found one and you want to use a very specific one. If you found it, copy the URL, paste it in here, and there it is. You can hit select, and now your video is here. So how to do the perfect squat. And now you have an image and a video that then you can refer to when you go to do your question, such as what primary muscle does a squat work. Okay. Now let's say you have so far the image in there, you have a video, you have your questions, but let's just say these next questions here don't necessarily match up with your questions up there and you want them in a different section. Okay, so what you can do is down here, you can go over here and you can add a section. Okay, now this section, okay, section 2, so section 1 up here, let's get rid of this one. Okay, section 1 up here could be your squats and your stuff like that, and section 2 down here could be your nutrition. That's totally how you spell nutrition. Nutrition section and sports. answer the questions based on our previous lesson. Okay, so what you can do now is make it to where maybe this question here is required. And that way when you go to do these questions, you can't get there until this. Okay. Now what you can do is you can preview that by hitting this I button up here. So let's preview this. So if you look down here, notice I don't have those other two questions. So if you click next, it won't let me go to it. So I'm going to go over here and click quadriceps. Okay? And now it will allow me to go to this next section. Okay. Now let's say you want this question. You're like, well, I really want this question up here because this is nutrition and this is not. So let's go over here and say, I don't want that here. I say that's just nutrition. You can grab right here if you see the dots at the top of that question, and you can move them to a different section. So now you have maybe your sports stuff here and your nutrition stuff down here. Let's make that one required so that you have to do that before. You can go down here, make this one required so that you can't submit it until you actually have finished all of the questions. That's it that I have right now for customizing your Google Forms. Next time we're going to be talking about collecting that data and getting the forms out to your students. And then once you get that data, being able to get through it, format it, and organize it to where it's easier for you to use.